Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. We'll be doing a quick update on the fish room. I installed a new linear piston air pump and we'll be looking at some of the breeding projects and some of the fish I have available for sale. I do have some grots that are ready to kind of be shipped on and moved on to other people. So let's get straight into the video. So this tank here is one of my fry raising setups. So we have a bunch of manacapuru redback angels in here. That's all of these guys in the front. They're really hard to focus on, so I'll try to get some b-roll, but hopefully the footage is not too bad. There's probably 150 to 200 of them in here. They've been doing really well. They've been growing well, no deformities. They're very different from a lot of the other more domesticated angels that I've bred. These guys have not had nearly as many problems, and the parents are actually taking really good care of the eggs as well, which I was surprised about. We also have some apistogramma erythroa in here. You can kind of see some of them darting around. There is about 40 in this tank as well. Now this is a 20-gallon long. I've actually found that the fry grow a lot better in larger tanks, so that's what I'm kind of doing here. And you can see that they look really good. I do have a couple of caveats with this type of setup. I think there might be a little too much water volume for the amount of food. So these fish have to swim a little bit more, so they might grow a little slower, but you can also maintain the parameters better. So I think there's a little bit of give and take there. I still haven't completely figured out what the best setups are to raise fry, but this has been working pretty good so far. The growth rate on the fish has been really good. I also love the schooling behavior from these angels. It's super interesting. These guys have just been getting baby brine twice a day. I've been really ramping up my baby brine shrimp production. I do have a bunch of discus fry and other things, so it's been hard to keep up. But they're doing good. I also have another like 30 or 40 stir-by cories in here. They do fry in here. They do really tend to hide. You can kind of see some of them in the back there. But yeah, they've been doing really good. You can see all the fry schooling around. So I've been really liking the setup. There's just a bunch of moss in here, tons of Java moss, and not really too much else in here. So setup's been working great. So this tank right here has some of my Melanitania affinis pogweed grots, as well as some black Venezuelan cories. So one of my other tanks was just getting a little too crowded, so I decided to move some of the larger rainbows into here. These are the same fish that you saw in probably a previous update a couple of months ago. They've been growing really well, super nice coloration, and these guys are kind of ready to go. So if you guys want to check out the website, they'll be on there. They're growing pretty quick. They're about maybe 2 inches now. Some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit smaller. So they've been doing really good. This tank over here, now this is a very interesting tank. This is an experiment I've been running. This is my tetra breeding setup. So in here I bred some imperial lapis tetras. So I'll insert b-roll of them. They're really tiny, but I've had a pretty good success rate with these. I suspect there's probably 30 or so fry in this tank that have all been eating 5 to 50 micron golden pearls, and they've been growing pretty good. So maybe I'll make a breeding video on breeding these guys, but overall so far the tetras have been pretty easy to breed. I bred a couple of varieties so far, so maybe I'll make some videos on them. Also do have some rainbow fish fry in here, some Calitawas I think I threw in, as well as some like CPDs and other things. So not kind of a mishmash tank, but mainly was for raising a lot of the tetra fry. So hopefully I can kind of keep cycling different tetras. I might just acquire some more species just to grow out, and whenever I feel like breeding them, throw them in this setup, and it seems to be working well. So this here is my manacapuru redback breeding setup, as well as I have some random like apistos in here. The pistos in here are some blue flams. I also have some Elizabeth in here, as well as some Tanacar candidi. These are all breeding projects I'm working on right now. I'm kind of just conditioning them in this tank before I move them to some of my breeding setups. But the main attraction in this tank is this pair of manacapuru redback angels. So they've been producing really well for me. I have like some fry in this breeder box. You guys probably saw some fry earlier in the video. Now they're sitting on another batch of eggs. Now with this batch of eggs, they let on the glass. I would have pulled them. I initially had a cone here, but they decided they would like to lay on the glass. I think it's because I've been pulling all the eggs. But it's been about 2 days so far, and they still haven't eaten the eggs, and they're defending them very well from the apistos. So maybe they'll raise the babies in here. So if they do, that'll be amazing. And then I'll just start leaving the fry with the parents instead of raising them and pulling them out myself. So this has been a really nice pair. I'm hoping to get these fish out to a lot more people. They're super pretty fish. They honestly look pretty muted in this tank just because the background is white, and I don't know, the lighting in this tank is just not great. So the coloration on these guys has been really nice. They're like true redback angels. They have like that really nice red marking. I'm gonna move the light. Hopefully it picks up the red a little bit better. Yeah, it's looking like it's a little bit picking up the coloration a little better, but yeah, I don't know. These guys are really pretty fish. I love them. Angelfish I've been looking for forever, and really happy that I've finally been able to start producing these guys. And we do have a lot of them. They've been growing pretty well, so we'll have a lot available in the very near future. So this here is my discus raising tank. So initially in here I had a pair of red melon discus. So they were doing really well in this setup, and they spawned a couple times, and this is one of their batches of fry. Now normally I don't like pulling the fry from the parents this quickly. They are not too big yet, so I usually like leaving them for a little longer. But the parents were getting really stressed. They are a smaller pair. I would say they're probably like 5 inches or so, so they're not super large. And that was causing some issues with this many fry. There's probably 70 or so fry, and they were kind of just eating away the parent slime coat really quickly. They weren't able to recover well, so they were having some issues with cloudy eye and just some looks like bacterial stuff, but I wasn't really sure. So what I ended up doing was just removing the parents and moving them to another tank. Now they look great. It's only been, I think, 3 days or 4 days since I moved them, and the parents are fully healed, look great now. So yeah, but I had to unfortunately take the parents out of here. So now I'm just been feeding them baby brine shrimp every day. Now these discus are they eat a lot more food than I was initially expecting. They've been growing really quick. So I think these guys are like 10 days old now. So they're not even like that old, 10 or 11 days old. Not entirely sure, but they've been growing really fast and doing super good, and they've been doing like pretty well for discus. Now what I've done with this tank is this is a 20-gallon high, which is my ideal discus breeding setup. But what I've done is I've kind of lowered the water level. I was finding that these guys were just swimming way too much, and you can even see now they're wasting so much energy swimming. So I might even lower the water level a little bit more, but I'm not really sure. I'm not like an expert discus breeder, but we'll see. So they've been doing really good. Feeding them I think 3 times a day, once in the morning, once around like the afternoon, lunch, 2 to 3-ish, and then once at night before I turn the lights off. And they've been doing really good, growing quick. And there isn't too much variation in the size of the discus, which means they're growing pretty well. And this tank gets water changes every other day. I like keeping the discus tank clean just so I don't stunt the fish. I don't think it's required, but I just like doing it just to try to make sure that they grow well. So this tank over here, this tank has some plecos, but the main thing in this tank is my pair of albino Bantam angels that have been looking like they're gonna spawn for the past, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks, and they still haven't spawned. So if you guys have any ideas to get me to trigger them, please leave them in the comments down below. This one on the left is the female, this one on the right is the male. They've been like staring at this cone every day now for multiple weeks, and I don't know what the problem is. Still haven't spawned. So hopefully in the near future we'll have some luck with these guys, but I'll keep you guys updated with that. So this tank here has a bunch of my apistogramma fire gold. Now these guys have now grown pretty large, so they're ready to kind of ship out. So if anyone's interested, check out the website, they'll be on there. They've been doing really well. They're starting to sex out. Like this one right here is a nice male. That one's another nice male. There's a pretty good mix of males and females in this setup, so these are probably some females right here. So I've been pulling out breeders from here. I'm gonna keep probably 3 or 4 pairs back and try to produce a lot more of these guys for everyone. But overall, super nice fish, love them, and they've been growing really well. So here is the linear piston air pump. Now I have this connected to a separate line that goes into my house for power. So even if there's like a trippage or anything happening in the garage for power, it's connected to the indoor system, so everything should still stay on. Now this is connected to a 3/4 inch air line, which is connected to this little connector. Now this is a 3/4 inch connector to a 1 inch connector. So this connector doesn't work too well, to be honest. There's some leakage here with the air, but it's not too bad at all. Then it's connected to a T-PVC, and it's connected to some more. So this just goes around the top of my whole greenhouse, and I've drilled holes in all of them and connected all the air. So this has been really nice for my entire greenhouse. It significantly has reduced the sound in the whole thing. So it's really nice. I can film in here now a lot easier. I used to have to turn off all the pumps, so that's really nice. And there's also a lot of power. So this is losing air here at this connection right here. And I also have a couple of taps open to spill excess air, and there's still enough power for I have like 30 tanks in here. So the piston air pump is really nice. They are kind of expensive. I think I paid like $250 for the one I got. I got it from Aquarium Co-op. But overall, it wasn't a super hard setup. If you guys want me to go into detail about exactly like what I did, it was not difficult at all. It was a pretty easy setup. I can do that in a separate video. But yeah, not much else to say about the linear piston air pump. Highly recommend getting it. It makes your entire life so much easier. Now I don't have to worry about getting new airlines. I can just drill a hole, attach a little airline tubing, and be done. So it's pretty nice to have that flexibility now instead of having to use splitters and air pumps and all that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. If you guys have any comments, questions, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.